Light it.
Coach DeBoer, we appreciate you, man. It's an honor to have you on the show, bringing another member of the Crimson Tide family onto the triple option. We got the one, the only Kalen DeBoer, the head coach at the University of Alabama. Roll Tide, baby. We appreciate you coming on the show with us.
Roll Tide. And I didn't know that we were supposed to wear no sleeves, right?
Good show, Coach. You know what week it is. You know
so
what
is
week
it roll,
it is.
Is it Roll Tide, Coach, or is it Roll Damn Tide? I get confused once in a while.
It can be both, right, Mark? I mean,
hey, Roll MF Tide. It could be all of that.
It's a family show here, so let's stick with Roll Damn Tide.
We got you.
Coach, in your days back at Sioux Falls as a player and a coach, I'm curious, what were your coaching aspirations at that point in your career?
At that time, I wanted to coach high school football, and I did for 2 years right out of college. I loved it. 2 amazing years. Had some great coaches, a head coach, some assistants. I was the head sophomore coach right out of college, and that was a blast running my own show there. And got a chance, though, 2 years later to come back to Sioux Falls, the University of Sioux Falls, and be the offensive coordinator right away. And that was under my head coach. That was with Chuck Milroe, who was the defensive coordinator, who's actually on my staff. We were former teammates, so it was just too good of an opportunity. But I was just about coaching high school ball and enjoying that, and being around a bunch of maybe some other sports along the way, basketball or something.
When you were doing that, was Alabama anywhere in your stratosphere, anywhere in the back of your head? Like, man, maybe someday I could be in Tuscaloosa.
No, I don't. I can guarantee, and not even I don't think I can guarantee it wasn't.
We love that, though. We love that.
So Coach, you take Washington to the national title, and I was actually thinking about you last year when this was all going on. And I remember when I was at Bowling Green, then Utah. I'm not sure many of the viewers really understand how when you get pursued, because the ADs, maybe it changed, but the ADs never call you because they're really not supposed to. And I didn't have an agent, so it was those headhunters. They would call, engage your interest. So, I don't want to get too involved or too personal with it, but you have an incredible season. You're at a great place. Can you kind of let us know how, did a headhunter reach out to gauge your interest, or what happened when you had that great season in Washington?
Yeah, no, it's actually really simple. We had our season. We flew back on Tuesday after the Monday game, and Wednesday, Coach Saban announces his retirement. And late Wednesday night, my agent let me know that they, Greg Byrne wanted to meet, and it was literally the next day. Wow. They were on a plane up, and so it was that fast. And so. No gauging of interest other than, hey, would you be interested in meeting? And that was that Wednesday night. Thursday interviewed, and then Friday got offered the job and accepted it. And Friday night I was here, meeting with the team. So it was fast.
You got off that plane. I remember that image.
We had a little bit of a heads up that there was a lot of people on the ground excited to greet us. I don't think I thought it was going to be that crazy and that many
crazy.
People.
It was so many people out there.
It was awesome. It was great. My kids, especially, just them being a part of it. It was kind of a cool moment. I think something that they'll always remember. But whisked away quickly to the facility. Literally walked into the facility into a team room. Didn't even see the rest of the building. I couldn't tell you which way was which. That was part of the team, and here we go.
Yeah. Well,
I remember when I left Utah and went to Florida, the players kind of understood. We had a really good meeting. When I left Bowling Green to go to Utah, it wasn't so good. My gosh, Washington, you reached almost the pinnacle of the game. How did your players respond?
Yeah, that's the hardest thing in all of this. I think there's 2 pieces. One, we were coming off of a national championship run there, and just not having to have a chance to celebrate that really never existed. And I feel bad for the players when it comes to that, and the fan base too, and just that was a unique situation. It was such a memorable season. And then the timing is something, you just can't control. But it was important to me to get in front of the players, and just, again, as I mentioned, how quickly everything happened. Late Friday morning, being offered a job and accepting it, and knowing how word travels. And word was pretty much out that I accepted the job before pretty much maybe was even offered it, but for sure before I accepted. So, we called a quick team meeting, and, not even all the guys were able to be there, because some of them, maybe are not even there because it was a weekend, and, classes finished up. And so that just how it all kind of ended there was really hard. And there's players that are done, with their years that I've had a great chance to reach out to and make sure that relationship's still intact, especially the guys that moved on to the NFL. But I am looking forward to the time when, some of these guys that are either there or moved on to other programs, getting the chance to connect when their careers are done, and really, talking through some good times.
Yeah. Now, Coach, you mentioned like how fast everything happened, and you had players in the transfer portal. You're taking a new job. You're moving your family. There's all these variables going on with taking a new position on, like, the head coach at University of Alabama. But one of the things I appreciated was you connected with me not too long after you took that job. I know it was less than a week. It had to have been a certain amount of days that you had connected with me, and I appreciated that because that's something that doesn't happen at every place, and something that's not the culture of every place. So I've seen a lot of the former players around the team, a lot of former players around the facility. Why is it important to you to have the former players still involved with the program?
Well, you're one of many greats that have made this place what it is, and made this job special, made playing here at Alabama special. And I guess we're all alumni from somewhere, and we always want that. And I want to be able to go back to the University of Sioux Falls and enjoy the relationships and the people there, and know that that's always home. And so I always think about it that way. When came here, I want the alumni to always know that this should always be home, no matter if it's a different head coach, or it's 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the road. This is always home. You made this place what it is.
Well, you've treated me like family, and I know some of the guys that have been back that I play with, everyone makes it feel like home. So we appreciate you, Coach.
Yeah, I appreciate hearing that.
Well, all due respect to the previous teams you played, I still remember the days when I first got to the SEC, especially as an offensive coach, man. You're sitting there watching Sunday film, and you're like, how in the hell are we going to block that guy? The defensive fronts in this league are unbelievable. And you got one this week, man. This is welcome to the SEC, Coach.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and we're working through those answers right now, trying to come up with the best ones we can. But it's certainly, facing Georgia here, the clashing of the two teams in the conference championship, and then for us, our first game in the SEC. It's quite a bang to start the season off here. So looking forward to the challenge, embracing it. Just know that over the years, and whenever you have big games, and it's all relative, right? This wasn't an SEC game, but it's always relative. You got to be who you are and what your identity is in the different ways. And even though we're still evolving that, having been a new staff, and it's still being early in the season, we got to continue to identify that, stick to what we're good at right now, and continue to evolve, continue to grow in all aspects of our program.
You guys had a bye week leading into this game against Georgia. How did you approach this bye week, and maybe how would it be different if it was another type of opponent that wasn't at a Georgia type level?
Yeah, I think it's probably for us more about the timing of the year. And, we're only 3 games in, but we're also 7 weeks into football and fall camp, 4 weeks, three games. And so that piece right now for our guys, to me, it was important to have a couple days, and we did Monday and Tuesday where we just didn't have football. We lifted and did some things on Sunday and Wednesday. And so I know a lot of people do it different ways. That's what we felt was important. I wanted to get some of our guys healthy. And so practicing later in the week where more of those guys can come back, and not immediately after the Wisconsin game, give them a couple of days mentally, but also physically to where we could get some of that Georgia work in on Thursday and Friday. I thought that was important. We'd practice again on Sunday. So we're in a good spot right now. Every day, every rep matters. And so trying to get some of those guys back and get stealing as many reps as we could was important.
Give us the quick scouting report of what Georgia is right now.
Yeah, from offensively, I think just with Carson Beck, I think anytime you tell a guy he's a manager, like that's not what they want to hear as a quarterback, right? He's beyond that, but he does a great job just managing everything, like running the show. It goes through him, and so I mean that in a very respectful way. But I think when it comes to the running backs, you see explosiveness. I think in the passing game, they're just still working and getting in sync with different elements from quarterback to receiver. And, with the bye week, I'm sure that they were really focused on that. But, up front, just physical, it's what you'd expect. And there's just no turnovers, right? No turnovers on the season through 3 games, which is, to me, just super impressive. No interceptions. And, defensively, they're going to just make life really hard for you and make you earn every yard. Have answers and solutions to the things that I think you do best, and then having adjustments throughout the course of the game is what I'm expecting to see. And so you got to counter all those things that they're doing to you, and then special teams. That's the hidden piece in all of this. So the field goal kicker 6 for 6. And a punting game where, we feel like it's a strength of ours that we can flip the field with James Burnap. They're doing the same thing in their punting game and haven't had a yard of return yardage in 2 years, with what they do. So every yard's important, and even there, it's really hard to find those yards.
No, Coach, one thing I admire so much is how you weathered the storm of the transfer portal, right? Like 32 players left out of the portal. You end up retaining 25 stars on the roster. That's the most in the country. Then you bring 12 players in from the portal. What is it like taking over a program in the era of the new NIL and transfer portal? What's it like taking over a program during that time?
Yeah. I think we'll always have to have portal guys come in just because that's like the era we live in. But I would like to think of this as a high school recruiting program, and then the portal fills in the gaps. And as you mentioned, with so many guys going on to other places, we had to find the right guys that filled in some of those key losses, guys who were contributors a year ago that we knew were going to be major impact players for us this year. And I think for the most part, we were able to do that. You lose a center, you bring in a center. You lose some receivers, you bring in a receiver, and just some tight ends. We brought in a tight end and safety, same thing, just across the board, trying to plug and play. And I think we did a good job of not just bringing in a player, but some guys who fit what we want to be culture-wise, fit what we want to be on the field schematically, had great skill sets, had some experience under their belts playing at a high level.
The rule, you don't follow the man, you follow the man after the man. That's what I did. It's Florida. But I felt Steve Spurrier every day. I just talked to him last week, and he loved when I said the shadow of the visor is what I called it. Because they're contingency that will all, and they should, that love that previous coach it drove me nuts a little bit. This is the way we used to do it. Have you gotten that yet, or I guess it's still too early?
I just know that you embrace that, and it's a privilege to be here. And Coach Saban deserves all that, and I'm sure Coach Saban would have said the same thing about the other greats that came before him. And again, it's made what this program is because of the work that he's put in. And so I think the way I look at it, though, is that someone like Coach Saban, who pours everything into this program and makes it what it is, there's an element of he don't want it to just, lose all its luster of what it's become. And, that's where it falls on me to continue to carry that on, show that the work that he's put in, and you just think about teams, but I think there's there's things you do structurally, infrastructure of the program, whether it's academically, the trainings, the training room and facilities with the weight room. And he did such a good job of taking advantage of improving those areas, which I think people understand. Alabama has a lot of great things that our players have access to, and the resources are at a high level. But he took advantage of continuing to grow, and that's what I'm looking to do, is continue to grow, even though you might think, man, how can you do it better? And Coach Saban, that's my responsibility, is to obviously have a great product on the field that allows us to continue to grow the program and continue to evolve it like it's been done at a high level for the last, not just 17 years, but for decades.
Now, Coach, we know you got Georgia coming up this week, and I know you haven't experienced the Iron Bowl yet, but, Auburn is like the hated rivalry that like no matter what happens, like you got to whoop Auburn, right? So, but now it's like you got Georgia coming in this week, and I remember like when I got to school, like I had to learn the Iron Bowl, the Alabama rivalry, but I kind of grew to hate Florida. Like I was going against Coach Meyer and those Gators 08, 09. That's who you had to beat to like contend for a championship. So now is Georgia taking that place as like the new rival because of just the stature and the status of what this game means, the magnitude of this game every year?
Yeah, I think there's rivalries for different reasons, right? And I think you nailed it. You got your in-state rivalry, and then you have the rivalries, and because you know that you're playing for something at a high level. You know that this game, last year and past years has meant national championship, conference championship. It's meant a lot in those areas, and so it's a rivalry, if you want to call it that way, for those reasons, because there's something at stake.
I would imagine when you took the job over, Jalen Milroe was a priority for you, just to watch the tape, figure out what this young man is and what his future can be. So how have you handled Milroe since you got into Tuscaloosa, as far as what the developmental path was that you wanted him to do, and what have you seen from him this season?
Yeah, I told him this too. I was excited to meet him when we were playing and getting ready to play the Sugar Bowl, and he was obviously on the field in the Rose Bowl. I remember walking by a TV, just going to the locker room, and I was with a couple other coaches, and seeing him make one play, and just passing and seeing it on the TV, one of our coaches goes, "Man, we face him, that's going to be a problem." I've told Jalen that, that's kind of the vision of the visual that I had from afar, really not having dissected and watching him play. But walking into the team room, it's kind of a blur, as I told you how fast everything happened. But I specifically remember seeing him, front, not center, because he's off to the right a little bit. But how can you miss? I mean, he's got the smile from ear to ear usually. And I think that was maybe a little different at the time, because there were some stressful moments that those guys were all going through with the transition and meeting their new head coach. But I do remember just, even a short interaction with him and a meeting with the leadership group, where you could get a sense very quickly of what he was all about, and how important it was to him to stay, to see things through, along with many of the others who did the same. They had some unfinished business to do. It was important to get the train rolling as quick as you could. And he's done nothing but just help lead the charge in every way, both as a player, as a leader, and as a person, who represents our program every single day.
Hey, Coach, we know Milroe is an amazing athlete, but, we got an amazing athlete right here. As so far, two-sport athlete, set the record for receptions, touchdowns, yards.
Don't forget Coach Meyer now,
diamond, 520, 10 home runs as a senior. Do them boys know that they coach is really like that, a really Holyfield athlete? Do they know that?
Again, and now I'm going to go the other way. With all due respect to, smaller college football, a guy like Jalen, Milroe, and the guys here, the speed they're operating on was a little different speed than what I was operating on. I knew my place and I knew my time, and I take a lot of pride in that. And I had a lot of fun, but it's a little different level we're operating.
I don't care where you at, coach. You got to run the route, get open. You got to catch the football. You got to score the touchdown. I don't care where you at. You batting 520. That's legendary. And 10 home runs, you still got to hit the ball out the park. So I'm going to give you your credit, coach.
I appreciate that, Mark. I really do.
Coach, we know you got a lot of baseball. Our coach, Coach Meyer's got baseball in his DNA as well. And it's funny, when Urban gets around baseball guys, I see Coach kind of start geeking out a little bit. Mark, have you seen that too? Like he's like, oh man, A-Rod's over there. There's Jeter. He wants to talk baseball, right? He doesn't want to talk football. Those guys want to talk football to Urban. Urban wants to talk baseball to those guys. Are you still kind of a baseball junkie, a baseball nerd down deep?
I am. When it comes to the bat and ball sports, I have a daughter who is softball, and there might be some times when you question what my favorite sport. And I'm saying this jokingly, but I love softball. I love baseball. There's something about just I've got to enjoy the hitting techniques and the drill work and just diving into that. And that's probably the coach coming out in me, but. I get to still do that just because I do have a daughter that plays softball.
You hit 520 with 10 bombs. I got drafted in 1982. I didn't do that. Holy cow, man. Major League Baseball missed on a guy, man. Look at that.
Drafted in 1982, coach? Who drafted you?
Atlanta Braves.
The Braves?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
ATL.
And then you know who cut me? Some guy by the name of Hank Aaron. I got a letter saying you're cut.
You still have that letter?
Oh, my dad, bless his soul, but my dad being say, by the way, you might want to save his autograph. I said, throw that thing away. But he saved it. He was a player personnel director back then for the Braves.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thanks for your time, Coach, man.
Hey, Coach,
I know it's a tough week, man.
Coach, we do one thing. You want to tell them, Rob? Tell them what we do?
Yeah, Coach, we like to offer our guests the opportunity to throw a question back at any one of us. You're welcome to fire a fastball at me if you want, or your Heisman winner down there. But my guess is it might be the other guy, Coach Meyer, that you might have a question for. So this is your opportunity to throw a question at us.
I want to make sure I don't say this. I want to make sure I'm accurate, I guess. Coach, you won it in 2006 and 2008, right?
Right.
I always remember that because those were the same 2 years that we won our national championships.
Wow.
We won 2006, 2008, and then 2009. But
Good
I
years.
remember specifically, Coach probably don't remember the small college guy, right? He's taking the pictures with the AFCA trophies and everything.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, of course.
So
that was you, huh? That was great.
That was me.
Those are good years. Those are good years.
I do remember that. So I always, when I think about you, Coach, and think about those years, and I always remember the years you won the national championship because the two of them were correlated at the exact same time we were doing our thing. So
wow,
yep,
legendary.
Love that, Coach.
Well,
we know how
appreciate your
busy
time,
you are
Coach.
this week. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah,
Big enjoyment. And next time you'll take us through all the things that are behind you in that beautiful office of yours. We'll save that for another episode of the Triple Option. All right.
Be happy to do that.
All right.
So
Go get them dogs, Coach.
We got Coach Stallings back there, and you can see him back there. That trophy.
I see the Eddie Robinson.
Yeah.
Over your right shoulder.
Some
That's
game
why I put
balls.
those two there. There's two of the most special ones that I think I've ever received, just because of who they are and what they represent. And both of those this last year, and the Coach Stallings one, given that before I even had a chance to come here, but going to accept it this spring was really a great honor. So pretty special.
Ladies and
Go get
gentlemen,
those dogs.
Kalen DeBoer. Go get them dogs, Coach. Let's go.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Light it.